Hello, everyone. What you see on screen is a 9-level compensation plan. And I'm going to walk you through this because what I've done is I've created a calculator using Google Sheets in order just to demonstrate just how powerful this compensation plan can be. So what you're seeing on screen there are the levels of compensation, and there are two types of compensation. There is a direct compensation for when people join, $65 of which is put into the compensation plan, which covers the cost of the card and the cost of registration. So the card effectively comes along with that $100. And what you're seeing there is the commissions that are paid through each level of the 9-level compensation plan. So that's a one-off payment. But then thereafter, what you also have is ongoing top-up commissions. So every time somebody tops up their account with US dollars, then we receive a commission for each time they do a top-up. You can see that where it says top-up commissions, 2% of every top-up. So that's going to look like very small amounts to begin with, but you'll soon see that it doesn't take much or very long, potentially, for it to add up. In a moment, you're going to see a disclaimer come up as I go up the screen to the actual calculator. So we're going to explore some of these numbers based on the number of referrals that we might each of us get when we're promoting this amazing card. This card is going to be essential for anyone using crypto moving forward, not just now, but in the coming months and years. So let's have a look at this compensation plan. So here's my basic calculator. And I have actually, as you see up here, I've checked the accuracy. I might just zoom in on that for a moment. I've actually checked the accuracy of all these figures and numbers using ChatGPT. So having created this, I wanted to be absolutely certain that I got all these numbers right. Now, bear in mind, these are here just for a projection model, just for education, for information, and for entertainment, not for a guarantee of income. Make that very clear. There is no guarantees of income. It's totally down to the variables that you see, not just on the screen here, but the variables that apply to your own effort, the amount of time that you have to put into this or any business of your own, and the amount of capability that you have. And if we have a look at this disclaimer here, this is what I want to focus on for the moment. This covers most of what I've just said. Please do read through this, or I'm going to read it through very quickly, just to be sure that we are fully compliant. Income disclaimer. There is no guarantee of earnings or success, either promised or inferred. Individual results will vary and may not be limited to personal factors such as work ethic, available time, business skills, and other personal attributes or lack thereof. Any showcased earnings or testimonials are not representative of average results and may not apply to every user. Users must accept the risk of not performing as well as others or even experiencing financial loss. Hard work, effort, and time are necessary to achieve any results. Factors beyond our control, such as market conditions, algorithm changes, and changes in consumer behavior, can affect outcomes. Users should conduct their own research and use caution when making business decisions based on the provided information. The provider of this information is not responsible for any financial losses or damages resulting from the use of the product, service, or information. I disclose that I may earn commissions from links on this site and within the description above, and that these are assumptions that should be made by the user. As a general rule, do not invest unless you are prepared to lose all of the money you invested. And that's true of anything that we might consider investing in, along with buying a house or any other kind of asset. You know, there's always the potential, unfortunately, sadly, in this modern world in which we live, of losing everything we've ever put into any asset that we've ever had. Just a sad fact of life, unfortunately. And so what's going to be very apparent and very exciting, I hope, very shortly, is what happens when you start to leverage some of these numbers. So what do we mean by leverage? Well, what that means, of course, is inviting other people to look at this and to consider the benefits of it and hopefully to join us along the way in purchasing this product. Now, if we have just one referral, so let's start out here. These blue boxes are the key sums and amounts that are going to affect the potential return through the commission structure. So with one personal referral, of course, all you're going to earn is the $25 from that very first payment section, that very first $100, out of which you get paid $25. So the $100 that it costs to join plus the $60 added on top of that. So the total fee for joining is $160. That covers all the fees and everything else. $50 of that actually goes into the card for you to make payments with. And so it becomes your first top up of the card. So the total amount that you will be required to pay in order to get access to the card and to the referral program, cost to acquire the card, as you can see below here, is a total of $160. $50 of that goes into the compensation plan as a top up on the card, so that gets placed onto your card for you to spend. So that's one of the variables, because each month or each week, people will be spending that amount of money and will need to top up their card. So let's have a look at what happens with just one referral. So you refer just one person, and they also refer just one person. So let's put a 1 there. And what you'll see is that these numbers change. And through 9 levels, that would amount to a commission payment that totals up to $65. Not very exciting. That's directly from the $100 payment. What you'd also get, of course, is the top-up fee. And if we start with the $50, that's mandatory to begin with. So what you would get from the top-up commission is $1 once 9 levels are filled. So that amounts to $66 in total, which is that figure there. So it starts to get exciting when you introduce more referrals. And let's just say you introduce 2, and they each only introduce 1 person each. Now the figures start to get a little bit more interesting. You earn a total of $130 out of the $100 commission payments, and you get to receive a little bit more from the top-ups of $50. So now we're looking at a total return of $132 once all 9 levels are filled. Still not that exciting, but it's starting to get somewhere. So let's say you refer now 3 people, and they each still only refer 1 each. So now we're up to a total of 198 in return, combination of your referral commissions from the $100 initial payment and the top-ups. Let's look at what happens now if each of our personal referrals each introduce just 2 people each. Whoa, did you see that? How big a change that makes. So you've introduced 3, and each of those 3 introduce 2, and each of those 2 introduce 2, all the way down the 9 levels. So now all of a sudden, we're looking at a total of $4,000 over the course of time once all 9 levels are filled, plus the commission from the top-ups, which is this amount here. It's actually another $50. So add those 2 together, you get $4,000 over here, $50 over here. That amounts to $4,121 in total. That's just with your 3 personal referrals, and each of those referrals, each introducing just 2 people down 9 levels. So let's see what happens if they copy you and they introduce 3 each, all the way down 9 levels. Okay, now we're starting to see something really quite significant happening. So when all 9 levels are filled with just 3 people introducing 3, etc., then you end up with a commission once all 9 levels are filled of close to $70,000, $69,000, plus your top-up commissions, which amount to a further $800. So in total, that comes to $70,000. Now, if that took a year for your 3 to introduce 3, and for those to introduce 3 and introduce 3 and 3 and 3, etc., your annual income at that point would be $70,000, $70,180.65 to be exact. And that's just with 3 referrals referring 3, and no more than that over time. So just 3 referrals in the course of a year is all you would need, and all of your referrals will need through the 9 levels to achieve an income of $70,000 for that year. Let's have a look at what happens now if you introduce 1 person every 2 months. So that's 6 referrals, 6 personal referrals. And we'll just stop there for a second. And so you refer 6, but your team will only ever refer 3 each. Let's see what happens. Look at the figure down the bottom. That doubles what your income would be. So now you're looking at a yearly income of $140,000 just by introducing 3 more, adding a total of 6 people that you've introduced to this business. That's 1 person every 2 months. Now let's say that your referrals do exactly the same thing. They introduce 1 person every 2 months. So they'll end up with 6 people in their team. Keep your eye on the figures down here, this one in particular, and let's click the enter button. Now the figures start to get quite crazy. As you can see here, when all 9 levels are filled and you've received all those commissions from 6 people having introduced 6, having introduced 6, having introduced 6, etc., all the way down the line, your total income for the year now becomes $26 million just on a $50 top up. But let's be more realistic. Let's come back. Let's take a step back. Let's go back to 3 each and 3 each. And that's all anyone ever does. But what happens here is that they're getting paid their commissions. So down here at level 3, for example, they're getting $243 a month commission. So what is their top up going to be on their card? It's likely to be $243 because that's sitting there in the card. It needs to go onto the card. That's sitting there in the back office as commission, which needs to go on the card as a top up. But let's say it's only 200. Let's make this 200. Keep your eye on these figures down here. This is just with 3 referrals who introduced 3, who introduced 3, introduced 3 down 9 levels. Let's change this to 200. You ready for this? Keep your eye on the numbers down here. 72,000 here in total. 72,000 for the year. That's pretty good income, but we can do slightly better than that. And what will happen, of course, is that this amount here, which is the commission from the top-ups, becomes a monthly top-up figure, assuming that people are topping up their card by about $200 every month. So this now becomes a monthly commission. But let's say we just do one better, and we introduce 4, and everyone that we've introduced also introduces 4, and we stop there. Our income now for the year is 824,000, close to 825. And that's based on just a $200 top up. Now, I'm not going to go any further than that. Well, I'll go one step further, because let's say that your team gets down to level 5. Your income at that point, your commission, is over $3,000. So your top up on your card is going to be around $3,000. And when everybody else hits this target, their top up is also going to be around $3,000. Now, that will take time, and it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but these numbers will be growing exponentially over the course of that time. But let's look at what $3,000 top up does to your income. Take a look at this figure down here. Now we're looking at a total of 1,345,000, and we're looking at a monthly income of 557,000 per month once all these 9 levels are filled with people who have 4 referrals each, and that's less than 1 every 2 months. So I'm going to stop there because you could keep on playing with these figures, and I currently have 38 personal referrals. And if I were to put that figure in there, it would just explode ridiculously. Even if I made this just 1 here, and I put my personal referrals here, which is 38. So I'm now looking at a monthly income with everybody just introducing 1 referral each through 9 levels. My monthly income, or my initial income, totally would be 4,750, but my monthly income, 2,280, with just 1 referral down 9 levels. 1 person introducing 1, introducing 1, introducing 1 down 9 levels. If I made that 2, that's where the numbers get kind of crazy. So I'll stop there and just see what you make of that. Thanks for listening. Bye for now.